Hey, everybody, how y'all doing? Well, I thought, you know, I'm off early this morning. Why not do some survival stuff with you, right? Maybe a few, you know. I didn't know if I should do survival shorts or should I go live, you know? Oh, yeah. But why not go live? But I think other people are going live right now, so I don't know what to do. And I hate stepping on other people's toes, but I only have limited time to do stuff, and I haven't posted anything for a while. So why not? How you doing, Melissa, sis? So I was thinking, I don't know. It's a perfect morning, kind of. If you can see me better now, because I got a new phone. And I wanted to try a live stream with my new phone. I got a Google Pixel 7 now. So I want to see how well it does. And, it was raining and everything last night. And I wanted to, yeah, I'm on my land, you know. Don't have to take you out to the middle of nowhere. You can get lost literally anywhere, right? So I was just wondering if y'all wanted me to go live now, or if you wanted me to go live. Oh, sorry. For the foreseeable future, I'm going to start having mornings off, and I'll be working at night and everything. So, I mean, I guess, and right now would be a perfect time to show, you know, survival skills and everything in wet areas, like how to track animals in wet areas, how to process wood in wet, um, where to, what to do when it is wet, because wet makes you cold. Cold drains your body heat. Cold can kill you, you know. Cold and wet can kill you. What can you find to, in a survival situation if you don't have a survival pack or anything? If you just have what is in your pockets, like what do you have in your pockets? Do you have a blade on you? Can you make a blade? Can you find something to make a blade? Can you find plenty of resources to help make a shelter? Can you make a weapon? Can you make a fire with nothing? Those are skills that you need in a survival situation. But I don't want to step on anybody's toes. So I'll leave it up to y'all if you want me to do this kind of thing, because I'll be here in the mornings now. I'll be doing morning stuff. And, this also goes with what is in your pockets. What can you survive with? I have one way to make a fire. Good thing with always having a smoker around with you, or even if you don't smoke, carrying a lighter with you at all times, because you never know how many times do you get stopped by a person and say, hey, do you have a light? There's plenty of things that you can, and that a lighter is useful for besides just lighting up a cigarette or 420, hobbies. So, hey, Jakey Poo, how are you doing? How you doing, Sleeping Beauty? Yeah, I'm gonna start having. Start having mornings off now, and I'm gonna start having weekends off supposedly. So I was thinking about doing morning, good morning survival. How about that? And I wanted to try out the new camera and everything. Does it look good? Does this camera look good? Because I got a new Google Pixel 7 phone. So hopefully my signal and everything doesn't go out bad anymore. Hopefully. I don't know. What's up? What's up, Pine Island Research? How you doing, my friend? So, if y'all would like this, I can start doing live streams or shorts and everything, doing like good morning, survival. Oh yeah, if y'all didn't see, one of my good friends and everything that I've known forever, my friend Ron Weasley, he sometimes comes in my chat and everything. He made me some second star survival headbands. I was supposed to do an unboxing for it and everything, but I just never got around to it. Nice. I'm glad this looks good. I mean, it looks like a good ass camera from what I'm seeing. Like, plus, I should have better signal and everything. I bought myself this Google Pixel phone. They said it was a good phone for like YouTube and doing live streams and stuff like that. So, tips in a wet environment. Tracking. You can see this. If you see what I'm showing you right now, these are pig tracks, or we call them javelinas. They're smaller versions of wild pigs out here in Texas. This means there was recent activity overnight. It's been recently dug up with the mud and everything, and the roots over here has been chewed on. They're rooting, they do that most of the night. And over here you can see the same thing with their hoofs. They're just scrounging up earthworms and anything else, because when it rains, worms and grubs and everything tend to come out of the ground. So it's also a good sign for you too, if there's dig marks or any kind of rooting around. Hello, Danger Dale. How you doing? If there's any signs of rooting or anything like that, there's a source of food for you too. So, like I said, during rain season, stuff like that, grubs, earthworms, they get pushed up to the top of the earth. You may have to dig a little bit, but you're able to find grubs and earthworms within, soft ground. You can also find plenty of things like this. This is a this is where termites. See, as you can see, there's ants in this, and also it was a termite mound at one time. It's probably an ant hill right now. Ants, termites, stuff like that. The hell? It's a feeder and a game trail. Oh yeah, that's I have a thing with a local hunter over here. We're on my land, so I'm allowing a local hunter over here to set up a deer trap to hunt. I get, I get 50% of the kill. He gets 50% of the kill. How you doing, Lee brother? So yeah, we gotta we gotta. That's where he put the deer the deer blind and the deer hunt, and he's got his game trail and everything hooked up over there. So I'm gonna leave that alone for him so he can bring me 50% of deer meat, some venison. But like I said, in wet weather and everything, you need to know what you can, you know, what you can hunt, what you can eat. Like here in Texas, we have plenty and plenty of cacti. You can eat these cacti pads. You can eat them all day long. And this is one of the prickly pears. So, prickly pear cactus. You see this small little purple fruit that's on here? That's a prickly pear. You can pick these prickly pears. You can eat them raw as long as you have a way to take off the burrs from it. Hey Lynn, how you doing, sis? If you can rub the burrs off of it, you can eat it straight, eat it raw. You can also heat it over a fire. You can peel back the skin and eat the insides. It's sweet, it's wonderful, but it's only depending on the season. If it's too cold, they usually die and grow and make more. But with the prickly pear cacti pads like this, you one of these cacti pads off. You can split it open. You can squeeze the milk out of it. You can drink the milk. You can also open it up if you can catch a fish or anything like that. The bigger pads you can open up, put the fish inside of it, and cook the fish inside of the cacti pad. It will keep the fish moist and good. Hey, Kiss, how you doing? Yeah, the pad tastes terrible, Kiss, but it's still nutrients. You know what I mean? It's still edible, though. It, actually, Lee, you could you can't. I mean, it's not naturally grown where you are, Lee, but you know, you can take these pads and bring it over to your country, plant them in different places, you know. But it is like these prickly pears are all throughout the Midwest and everything, going up. I think as high as like Ohio. I mean, not Ohio, but Idaho, the Salt Flats and stuff like that. Um, they're migratorial cacti. A lot of people took them from Texas and moved them all over the states. So you can, if you're lucky enough, if you don't get too much snowfall or anything like that, they may be in your area. You just have to look. But, and another thing is cedar trees. If you have red cedar, okay, red cedar has a white bark to it. It's an underlayment bark in it. Speaking of red cedar, right here, it has an underlayment. If you pull back, and trust me, this ain't going to kill this isn't going to kill the tree. You keep pulling back. You see how it's changing colors. So what you would do, you need to take something sharp, preferably your knife, but I'm doing with what I have in my pockets. I don't have a knife on me because most people don't keep a knife on them, and in certain areas, you can't keep certain areas. So what you're going to do, you're going to take the key and you're going to keep going. And you see this white that's coming out of it? It's going to take a while, but the more you get to the white in here, and if you can see that white right there, that is called tape-in. It is in the Midwest and everything, the tape-in underneath can be harvested. You can eat it raw. Well, not eat it, but you can chew on it like chewing tobacco. Put it in your gums, chew on it, suck on it. Get that moisture out of it. It's going to be very, very sour, but the thing is, it's a thirst quencher like Gatorade or any electrolyte mix. It will keep you from dehydrating, and it's also an appetite suppressor. So if you're starving or anything, you can chew on that and it will suppress your appetite. It will suppress your thirst. You can also harvest mass quantities of that, cut it out. You can dry it in the sun, then take a rock and crush it and grind it, and it'll become a white powder. If you add water to that, you can make a flour out of it. And if you make a flour out of it, you can eat that. But you can only eat small quantities at a time. Like I said, it's a thirst and an appetite suppressant. So you want to eat just small portions of it at a time, and it will keep you fed. Hey, Frugal Mama, how you doing? Hey, Carol, how you doing? So, most cedars have that. So if you take your knife and you run it down and you pull away that redness to where it's pure white, you can cut into that and pull it off. Then, like I said, you can either suck on it like chewing tobacco, or you can grind it up, bake it in the sun and dry it out in the sun, crush it, make a powder out of it, add a little bit of water to it. Even your spit can work. Grind it up, add water, make a dough out of it, and you can carry that, and it won't dry out, it won't harden or anything, and you can just slowly take bites out of it. It's like 3 bites a day, and it will keep you full. It will keep you fed throughout, your survival period. Let's see here. What else? In wet scenarios. And, this is a thing that will always be around. It doesn't matter where you are. Hey, Jewish redneck, how you doing? Shalom, brother. Trash. Okay? Human trash is everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. It's all good, Carol. It's all good, sis. Thank you for coming by. But everything like this, a brown beer bottle, okay? It's glass. It can boil water. It can be used as a water container. You can also put a little bit of water in the bottom of this because it's a convex, because it's inside of it. It's a convex lens. You put a little bit of water in this. You can refresh. If it was a clear one, the brown ones don't really do that. But with the convex lens, you put a little bit of water in it. If it's clear, you can use that as a solar ignition source. You put the ray of sunlight, the sun's rays through it where the water is, and point it directly where you need it to burn and hold it there. And you will make a fire out of a convex lens and a little bit of water. But if it's brown, use it anyways. It will still, the brown bottles have a higher heat temperature to it, so you can boil water in it longer without it shattering. So always, 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 it doesn't matter where you are, there is always going to be human junk everywhere. Okay? That also means metal. That means, just like in the good old UK, there's hundreds and hundreds of clay pipes that are still on riverbeds and everything, dating back from the 18th century. You can find one of those on the side, anywhere. It's going to be the same way with pots. Some places in the UK, you're going to find tea kettles. You're going to find a lot of things out in the middle of God knows where. And you're also going to find a lot of World War II artifacts. You're going to find a lot of other things that was used during other time periods that can help you also. You're not gonna find any of that kind of artifacts or whatever lying around in the United States unless you come upon an old farmhouse or something like that. If you come upon an old farmhouse, get whatever you can and use that as a house. Use that as a shelter. You don't have to worry about building an A-frame. You don't have to worry about anything else if you can find an old building. Only thing you have to worry about is it falling down on you. Hey, Skinner, how you doing, sis? Let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying. My house has a little bit of everything. It's got a whole junk pile of scrap metal, stuff like that, that I recycle, I reuse and everything for stuff. I'm trying to find, I will start doing this better in other locations. Animal bones. Animal bones. Animal bones can be used for God knows anything. All right. This is a small animal skull, right? A long time ago, Native Americans put mud over the top part of the teeth and everything, and they used the back of the brain, the skull, as a water source, as a way to hold water if they had nothing else. You could do the same thing with a skull. You can also do other things with the skull too. You see the back lumps on this skull? If you put your lips to the back bumps on here and you cover the lid of it, you can make what's called a bone whistle out of it. A bone whistle can be used as an SOS whistle. Okay? You have multiple things that you can do with this skull. Plus, you can also turn this into a blade if you bust it open and sharpen the segments of the skull. There's plenty of things you can do with this. Against wildlife. Wildlife is different all over the world. Yeah, Skinner. You can use bones as needles. You can use bones as arrowheads. You can use bones as a knife. You can use bones for pretty much anything. It's how you look at it and what you can do with it. Because pretty much not all the time, you're not going to find a complete skull. You're not going to find, you may find a leg bone. You may find a vertebrae. You may find something. But a lot of times you won't find a pure skull that hasn't been busted open or cracked or something. It depends. Let's see here. So we're going up my little trail right now. So yeah. In Texas, you got to flip everything over. There may be a rattlesnake or something underneath it. So, something like this. An old, grill lid. Grill lids can be used for pretty much anything. If you have rope on you or shoelaces or whatever, you literally can use this as a storage sled. You can use it as a fire pit. If the ground's too wet or anything, you have metal. You could use it as a water container. Well, I mean, technically you could, but You know, like this one's rusted through, as you can see. So you wouldn't really use this as a water container at all. But you can use it as a fireplace. You can use it as a storage sled. You can use it, you can bust open the metal out of it and use it as a temporary blade. You could take, if you try hard enough, you could take these off and you can make a frog gig out of it. There's hundreds of things you have to think outside of the box for. What can you use this metal for? Rightly, yes, that's what you do. You look outside of the box on everything in survival. Because if you can't think out of the box, you won't live, you won't survive, because there's so much out here. And it doesn't matter if you're in God knows where, in the middle of nowhere. There has been people there before. You will find plenty of things. I mean, even a good old plastic bottle. All right. Well, this one ain't gonna work, but because it's busted. It's busted on the side. But if you found this, in your survival, you can boil water in this. You can fill this up as long as the fire does not go onto anything that is not touching water. Yes, I know there's a lot of blah blah about BPAs and everything that could poison you. No. Yes, it can poison you if you're drinking out of it for like 5 years, boiling out of it. But if you're boiling it for a week and drinking out of it, it's not going to kill you. As long as it does not, as long as the flames do not lick over the to any plastic that does not have water in it, then you're good. The water will be boiled, it'll be clean, you can drink out of it. It's the same thing as people that bitch and whine and complain about eating and cooking out of aluminum. The only thing that gives you Alzheimer's or anything out of aluminum is if you're scraping the inside of the aluminum and aluminum chunks come off into your food and you digest it that way. Just cooking and eating out of it, you're not going to die unless, like I said, you are scraping off the metal inside of your food, which it doesn't do unless it's rusted or you're literally digging into the sides. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Bone, skulls, everything. It can be used for dishes. It can be used for bowls. It can be used for God knows what. I mean, there's 101 uses for skulls, for bones. Same thing with wood. I mean, wood can be sharpened on a rock to become a spear point. Wood can also, build you a house, build you an A-frame. There's 1,001 usages for wood in everyday purposes. Let's see here. What else could I show y'all? There is oak trees that do grow a fern, well, kind of a moss on it called old man's beard. It's all over the world. It's in the UK, it's in America, it's in Canada, it's everywhere. If a bunch of oak trees are together, they will form this hanging, loose, like vine, like fungus, pretty much. That is a perfect tinder, a perfect fire starter. I do too, Lee. I love wood also. Old man's beard is an antiseptic. It's a fire starter. It can literally be used to clean a wound. There's a lot of medical purposes with old man's beard. None of my trees have old man's beard in it. I can't really show you old man's beard. But can teach you something with cedar. Cedar. The juvenile cedar twigs right here, the very tips of the cedar branch, can be broken off and boiled. It can be boiled in water and make a cedar tea that can cure you of chest congestion, of sinuses, of inflammation. It can heal you of a lot of things. You have to boil like I said, the juvenile tips on the branches. You just break off probably about 5 or 6 of them, put them in the boiling water, let it boil for probably about 3 minutes, stir it inside of it, get it where it kind of smells like Christmas, and you just drink it. You'll be fine. You can also pour the tea. You can also wash your teeth with it. If you have sores in your mouth or anything, it'll cure the sores in your mouth. There's also the juniper berries that grow on the cedar. Also, they're blue berries. Do not get them until they're a light blue, and they're easily squishable. You can eat them. You can crush them in your mouth and suck on the juices. Do not eat the skin or anything off of it. Suck on the juices on the inside, spit it out. You can also put the juniper berries in the tea also if you crush it, and it will also be a way to make it. It'll be a how should I say it? Like an X-Lax if you haven't used the bathroom. Because here's the thing: if you haven't ate for about 3 days, your body will clog up. You will not be able to use the bathroom. And once you start to eat, you will not be able to use the bathroom. So you will have to have something to make you use the bathroom. It's either that, or you're going to put a water enema up in yourself. It's better to do the diuretic with with the juniper berries if you have cedar around. Most places do have cedar, to my knowledge. But juniper berries only are formed certain times of the year. Yeah, you can do that too. The only bad thing, like with red cedar and stuff, they have thorns inside of them. So you can do it with white cedar, just not red cedar. Um, I know, right, Ron? Right? I, I, I was, I was telling people about you, good sir, that I said a very good brother of mine that I've known forever made me a few of these. And now that I have a good camera, I can show it off. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, brother. Nicely, nice, yeah. Oh, I understand, brother. I understand. I wish, I wished I used to work. Back in the day, I used to work in a carpentry vocational school, and I just never followed it. I I loved it, but the calling just wasn't for me. Thank you, brother. But I can show you any of the cedars, whether it's white, red, or what they call is blue cedar, which is still a version of the gray cedar. They have they're very, very flammable. Their bark is very, very flammable. So, you see all this dangly? You see what I'm talking about? This white right in here? This is the tarpon right here that you scrape off. Deers in Texas, they will pull back the bark and everything and eat and like lick it during summer and stuff like that, where when we go through droughts and everything, and they'll lick it, and that's how our Native American ancestors learned it from. But cedar bark. Cedar bark is very flammable. What you would do, you would take a strip off like this, and you would grind it. You would grind it to where the hairs and everything are showing, like that. Well, you would do more to it. Crushing it together, rolling it around to where it becomes pretty much like a fine powder. Or you can go and use your keys and rub up and down you could rub up and down on the bark itself and create that fine powder residue. Make a good make probably about a $50 or one of the old pound coins size. Make it into that kind of a powder, put it into your tinder pile, strike your flint on it, or there's thousands and thousands of good quality flint in the UK. In America, flint is hard to come by unless you're up north or something like that around the Great Lakes. Then you can strike that flint against each other and create sparks. Or strike the flint against a harder rock and create sparks that way. And once you do that, it will catch, and you just blow it to life. Um, Let's see here. Punkwood. Punkwood is everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're from. Very rare wood like this that is easily breakable. As this stuff is a lifesaver, and this stuff will take a spark like anything. You can also use this to cover the top of your A-frame with, and it will absorb the water from the rain like a sponge. If you let this absorb the water, you can squeeze it and drink the water out of this. Just like moss or anything else. Moss is better to do it with because moss is an antiseptic. Moss is good for anything. Moss is good for covering the lean to your lean-to. It's good for laying down as a bed mat. It's good for God knows everything, even toilet paper. Trust me, in a survival situation or a camping situation, if you ever come across moss, it is better than 1,000-ply toilet paper sheet. And your finger won't poke through it either. Hey, John, how you doing? Nice, nice. Yeah, but moss is one of the most beautiful things of nature that nature can give you. I'm trying to think of other things to help. I really didn't have. I was just thinking, since I have mornings off now, and I will start having the weekends off, I was wondering if y'all would like seeing good morning survival live streams, like going to different places and doing, different survival ideas and, getting different survival knowledge. Awesome. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Ron. Okay. Yeah. And, I got this new camera. I got this new Google Pixel 7 phone that they told me was and all this stuff. And it's, I'm really liking the camera on it. And now I can use this with my drone because my other phone would not hook up to it. So this hooks up to my drone, so I can actually start getting the last of my Survivor Chronicles episode done with some drone views of the place and like a few drone shots of the opening and everything that I'm trying to get done. But hopefully, now that I'm off in the mornings, I can actually work on the Survival Chronicles, and get this done. Ooh. And I hope, I hope one day, this dream of mine of doing this, YouTube web series can actually, do something, actually learn, help people learn by actually seeing it done in first person and actually going through the hardships of it, showing you how hard it is to do these primitive technologies, these primitive ways of life, like bow drills and bow drills, bow saws, bamboo fire drill. That stuff in with today's technology should not even be a skill for people to learn, because everybody in the world can buy a lighter. There is no point in getting the right piece of wood that's at the right angle and tying your shoestring on it and finding the right medium wood to soft wood to make your spindle and your drill and your hearth board and your pressure board. That's stupid. So stupid. And it will save you so much time picking up a 75 cent or a freaking pence lighter from Poundland or Dollar Tree. It's just crazy not to have one. I mean, even a flint and steel is better than a bow drill, hands down. But the knowledge you need to use it, most people don't even know that you need a 90-degree angle spine to strike a ferrocerium rod. Or people don't understand how you need a good piece of flint or a good sharp 90-degree spined rock to strike a flint and steel. That's why I called flint and steel. Oh yeah, danger. Like, if you don't have a lighter, it's pointless. It's pointless. I don't care how much of a Billy Badass you think you are. You will throw down that title of being a Billy Badass if you've had to spend 3+ hours in the cold, in the wind, in the rain, trying to make a fire out of a bow drill or a hand drill. It's good to remember the past, but like I said, we're in the year 2023. Man-made technology outbeats the primitive ways. Why do you think when the white man brought flint and steel over to the Americas, the Native Americans stopped doing primitive ways of making fire? It was easier. Just like, why do you think they threw away the bow and arrow for the musket? And why do you think they got rid of animal hides for blankets? Yeah, 2022. I know, Lee. Almost 2023. Just go ahead and pull the trigger. We're almost there. It's we're in a day of age where everything is man-made anymore, you know. Even the African tribes, when the British came over, they changed their ways a lot too. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's to me, bushcrafting is an archaic hobby. It's not it's not a way of life anymore. There is no way in this in this era that you can just shamble off into the woods and build a little mud hut and live on that property for God knows how long without somebody knowing. I mean, look how it is in the UK. You know, you what is it? You have to live on a property for like 10 plus years, an unoccupied piece of property for 10 years before you can even claim squatters' rights to it or something. I remember hearing something about that. Like, you can't do that here in America. You can't just go to the Rocky Mountains and pitch a tent and say, I'm going to live here the rest of my life. No, you can't do that. But these people that I call weekend warriors, they believe, knowing the old ways is the best way. Nah. As far back in history as I'm going to is the Ferrocerium rod. At least with a Ferrocerium rod, I can get 5 million strikes off of it before it even wears out on one side. And if you're skilled enough, I've seen people use a quarter of an inch on a Ferrocerium rod and still be able to strike a fire. And that means, a quarter of an inch on a 3-inch, Ferrocerium rod. If you have those skills, you can save anything. And I don't have those skills. Those people are very, very rare and very, very talented. Me, I have to take the full length to do the strike. It's, it's all in people's heads. Nobody, there's only about 1% of the population that's ever truly been in a survival situation. And real people, they make a good show. They're a good face for a good show. I'll tell you that. For most survival people. You just have to you have to you have to take every survivalist and their knowledge. They're running fighter jet. They're running fighter jet formations again for some reason over my land. I don't like that. But like I said, with every survivalist that you meet or you see like on YouTube or TV or anything, you have to take their knowledge with a grain of salt. And it goes for anybody in any field. You know what I mean? Like, it's good reading, and 90% of the time, most of these survivalists and everything are surviving in a protected area, which means they're in an area that is close enough to civilization that if something happens to them or whatever, they can call the right, you know, people to come and get them and rescue them. A lot of people are show bugs. If it wasn't so cloudy, I'd show you all those jets. But because in this century, in this day of age, we've never had a survival situation. I love you, brother. You know I've always loved you, bro. But most survivalists don't care about you. Most survivalists care about themselves. They don't care if you don't understand why you need this. People don't understand. Most people don't understand why this is a good item over this. Most people don't understand that I don't need that $500+ knife to survive. A lot of people in survival think it's a pissing game. They think they know more than anybody else, even though they've never had to survive. And I don't. I know what I know. And if I don't know something, we find out together. I'm not a person that's going to lie to you and tell you that you need all this stuff. Because you don't. You really, in real survival, all you need is a thing to cut, to process wood, to cut open a fish, to, do a lot of things like ants crawling in your ass. Son of a bitch. You need a knife for most things. You do. And a full tang knife. Yes, you can get by with a pocket knife, but only for so long until the mechanism gives out on you. And, you know, like a Victorinox is a perfect knife. It is made for survival. Now, if you go to Poundland or Dollar Tree and you get a cheap dollar knife, it's not going to help you. It'll probably break after the first 5 uses. But you can get a Mora, a good Mora knife, just a Mora basic. It's a rat tang knife. If you know how to treat it, if you know how to take care of it, it will last you forever. There's a survivalist named Cody Lundeen. He's had the same Mora companion, which is the basic Mora. He's had the Mora companion for almost 30 years, and it still works. He doesn't go and cut down a tree with it, but he can split saplings. There's multiple things that you can do to where you don't truly need to cut everything down. But survivalist and primitive survival, I think. There's people and survivalists that think you need the best gear, aka Bear Grylls, aka Survivor Man Les Stroud. These guys make their money on selling their soul and selling their soul and selling their item to you, saying that this is the best of the best, this is what you need, blah, blah, blah. Just like Les Stroud copied his survival kit and everything from a Canadian survivalist called Mors Kochanski. Mors Kochanski was a legend in the survival community. That man could do anything. He could survive anything. And when he died, when he was 90-something years old, about 4 years ago when he died of respiratory cancer, I believe it was, because of asbestos in his lungs. He left a legend. He taught people for free. And even all these so-called great men, they all learned from him, but they never give him any sense of respect, you know what I mean? And even Mors Kochanski learned all his stuff from somebody else. That's what I'm trying to say. There is no one supreme survivalist. There never will. There never has been. I mean, even our ancestors died from tasting the wrong fruit or tasting the wrong vegetable or wild edible, because then others learned from him to not eat that. Just like in our tribes. In the first tribes, men were the hunters, the fighters. Men were not hunter-gatherers. Men were hunters. The females of the tribe were the gatherers, which the reason why is because females can see different shades of colors than men can. So females were the ones that went out and saw if the berries were the right color to eat, or if this was the right plant to identify to be able to eat or use as medicine. Ron, 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 I need you to suck this out. I got bit in the ass, Ron. Oh, God. Y'all ever seen the movie City Slickers? There was the part where the guy got bit in the ass by a rattlesnake, and they're like, I need you to suck the poison out. Come to find out that the snake wasn't poisonous. Oh, jeez. I love that movie. But there is so much to survival. There's too much knowledge. Rightly, yes. And that's why we use them as the gatherers, because men were the ones that brought poisonous crap back because they thought it was the same shade of blue for blueberries as it is for wolfberries. I mean, we were dumb. I mean, we weren't dumb. We were just not able to. We were dumb. We were dumb. But it. What's up, Nicole sis? How you doing? Women played more of a role than men did in survival in the older days. Women were the ones to find out that the meat was rancid. If they killed a wild boar, or if they killed a wild animal and they killed it wrong and that animal went into stress, like deer meat, like deers. If you don't kill a deer with a clean shot, it will stress out and taint the meat, especially if you shoot a buck. And that meat will go gamey and it will be horrible to eat. You can still eat it, but it will be disgusting because it has so much game in it. Oh, I understand, sis. I understand. But women were able to smell that. Men, they can't smell. I mean, some men can smell, but not all men have that scent of It's meat. I'm going to eat it. I put my life on I put my life at risk to bring this meat. I'm going to eat it. And women were the ones that spotted rot in the meat or spotted sickness in it. And that's why that's why we needed women. Women were the ones that kept us going, kept us alive. That's why old civilizations and everything worshipped the women. I mean, the European tribes and everything, we drank the menstrual blood of a woman because a woman could bleed for 7 days and not die. If a man bled for 7 days, he's dead. So we didn't understand. We didn't understand women. We still, to this day, most men don't understand women. But, it's it was a two-way street back in the old days, you know. I guess women needed us and we needed women. The only reason why the women needed us was, you know, like the Amazons. Amazons didn't have a single man in their tribe, but they raided villages for men for one reason, and that was to impregnate them. And most of the time, they either kept them as slaves to do their bidding, or they killed them afterwards. Right, rightly. It's, I don't know. There's too much knowledge for one person to keep in survival. There's way too much knowledge. I mean, unless you are a living, walking encyclopedia, everything you learn. That's why I have thousands and thousands and thousands of survival books. Yes, they all say the same thing, but each one says a different thing also. And, I have thousands and thousands of wild edible. I have thousands and thousands of wild edible books. Because, like, the one thing I am afraid of getting and afraid of picking, even if I'm starving, is mushrooms. I am deathly afraid of identifying mushrooms because a puffer mushroom looks the exact same way as a Bella mushroom. A red cap shroom looks the same way as a red toadstool. Red toadstools can be used in medicine, can be used in tinctures, but cannot be eaten. Red caps will kill you. The mushroom, the red mushroom in Mario Brothers that Mario eats to get big. That's a red cap mushroom that will kill you. But they put it in a video game saying, "Oh, it's okay to eat. It makes you big." No. But, just like oyster mushrooms. Oyster mushrooms looks the same way as shade mushrooms, I believe they're called in the UK. They're like cluster mushrooms that grow on the side of a tree that is highly poisonous. There's so many different there's like 10 edible versions of mushrooms for humans, and the rest are all poisoned. Or, there's like 15 that can be used in medicines, but you can't eat it, it'll kill you. But you can use it in medicine. You can put it in a tincture, like an alcohol to dilute it, and all this stuff. Yeah, pretty much, Hendo. How you doing, Hendo? Yeah, just avoid them. I mean, but that's the thing. You're going to see 20 other naturalists, like natural survivalists, that's telling you to eat mushrooms in a survival situation. I don't. I tell people to avoid mushrooms all the time because mushrooms is a death sentence, especially when you're starving and you haven't ate in 2 or 3 days. Your mind will play tricks on you. Your stomach will manipulate your mind and tell you to eat it. Same thing that happened to the guy in Alaska. There was a guy in Alaska that lived out in the middle of God knows where in Alaska and lived in a 1940s school bus. And he ran out of food and everything, and the river, the river melted. The ice on the river melted, so he couldn't cross to get back to the town. But he was starving, and like on the third day of him starving, he found wolfberries that was de-thawing under the snow, and he thought they were blueberries. And so he picked about 4 or 5 of them and ate them, and they were wolfberries, wolfberries are very poisonous. He ate them, and he died a slow, horrific, painful death inside of that bus alone. And they did not find his body until after the freeze happened again, and they went out searching for him and found him dead in that school bus. Ah, yeah, there's been a lot of rain out here in Texas also, Hendo. It's weird. But, when hunger sets in, it makes you do stupid things. When you're starving, you'll do a lot of things for food. It doesn't matter what. And that's one of the that's one of the that's really the one killer that kills a lot of people in survival is their fear, and their hunger gets to them. Then it increases their fear, it increases their inability to think. And it's a hard lesson to learn. The self-control that you need. And I can't really say shit about it because I'm a diabetic. I need food. in a survival situation, I need food or my blood sugar will go low. And, you know, a low blood sugar coma, I just go to sleep and never wake up. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Hendo, it does. That is true too, Ron. But, but yeah, fear overcomes level headed thinking. It does. It really does, Hendo. There's a lot of things overcome your basic thoughts. That idea of I must survive kicks in. And when that I must survive kicks in, it ruins everything. And it makes you do stupid things. But I have been on here for an hour and 30 minutes, everybody. One of my brothers is going live right now. If you want to, head over to the Chad Smith podcast with me. And we will go over to the Chad Smith podcast and we'll raid them and say second star raid. Hashtag second star raid. And let's all go over there, okay? It is the Chad Smith podcast. And I hope to see you all over there, family. I love y'all. Thanks for joining me today. We'll start doing this more. We'll start doing, good morning survival. How about that? I love y'all. Y'all take care. Bye, family.